We had a mansion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my dad bought a mansion that was dilapidated on Esplanade Avenue, right by the French Quarter. And it used to be like...
Was your dad Ignatius Riley?
Well, I think if you really want to get into it, my dad had a real bad childhood, and he's like, he always wanted to make something of himself, but he never really did. So then he saw this mansion for cheap, because the neighborhood sucked. It didn't have plumbing. It was falling apart. There's holes in the walls, broken windows.
But it was a mansion.
But it was a mansion. And we also had this BMW when I was a kid. It had holes in the seats, and it was rusted out, but it was a BMW,
right.
you know? N-word rich, some people call it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so... yeah, it was a horrible way to live because everybody thought we were rich. We were the white family in the mansion, and we moved in. They're like, oh, these people got to have money. So we got robbed constantly. So my dad installed this alarm system, and it would go, woo, 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 like go crazy at like 2 in the morning. And I was like 8 going, well, weird. There's somebody in my living room right now. Like somebody below me is rifling through our shit and stealing our TV or whatever. And you're like, he could come up and rape me and have his way with me and blow me and all this. And
you're putting on nice negligees.
I'm putting on makeup and perfume and doing my nails and all that shit. So it was a skittish way to grow up. Like we'd come home a lot and the door was just open. You're like, fuck, we got robbed again. And it's very violating and just, you never felt comfortable. Never. Because you're like, we get robbed right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine that level of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think, I was like scared a lot, but that's, I don't know if we ever had that, coming home and being robbed and like just knowing somebody could be in your place. I always was scared that somebody was in our place while I was going to bed at night.
Yeah,
bro.
that was
and I'd have to look everywhere.
Yes.
I'd have to open the closets and I would hook these like cables from one door to the next, so like they couldn't open one door because it would the other door would stop it. Like just all this crazy level of checks and balances to just feel like, okay, I'm good. Everything's cool.
Well, here's a bad one. We got robbed a bunch, so we kept calling the cops, and eventually they were like, all right, you guys keep calling us. We're just going to stake out in your kitchen overnight, and maybe we'll catch a guy.
What?
So these 2 cops, plainclothes detectives, came, and we met them, and it was all exciting. They had a belt gun and the badge on the belt thing, you know, the whole thing. And I was like, oh, my God, I couldn't sleep that. I was so excited. Like, I hope they catch the guy. I hope they beat the shit out of him and tase him and all this shit. And I'm just laying in bed, so excited. I finally fall asleep. I wake up at like 6 in the morning. I run downstairs imagining that they're going to have guys in a headlock and cuffed and put them in the car. Yeah, and I run downstairs. They stayed in the kitchen the whole night. They ate everything. They ate all the food. So we got robbed again. They ate all the fucking Cheerios and the made pancakes because they got bored and they just ate everything. Everything was gone.
Fucking cops, bro.
I know. They took the radishes and the chicken bones and all that shit. All the evaporated milk.
Underfunded, dude. They're underfunded.
I guess. I didn't know that was part of the deal.
Damn.
Brutal. Yeah, New Orleans was tough, man. It was a tough town. And the scariest part was like the face-to-face crime. Like my bike got stolen many a time.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are big, you know, black
urban
kids.
men.
Yes. You know, they hit puberty like 4.
Yeah.
And, they got some mustache going and all this. And
they had some early, One kid named Puberty Wilson that we had in our neighborhood. And this dude, was jacked.
Oh, yeah.
He was born with a prison tattoo on his arm.
Right, exactly. Those weren't teardrops. That was a tattoo.
It was a different environment. Yeah, the racial environment down there was just black people had nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And it was hard to realize that at the time. Like, like now as I get older, you see like, oh, okay, these people they didn't have, like there wasn't any black doctors. Or they had nothing.
Not in that area, that's for sure.
Right. So you didn't have, of course they wouldn't have any role model. Like it's going to be very, like the chain of like, of poverty, like the level of poverty you get into, not just fiscally, but then beyond that, where you get into like emotional, just having nothing.
Right. Yeah. Like I would get my bike stolen, I'd run home crying, and I go, "Mom, they stole my bike." She would go, they need it. They need it. And I was like, "What are you, crazy?" But now I kind of get it.
Right.
But I will say, as a white kid growing up, like the only white kid in that neighborhood, you're the minority.
Right.
You go outside the neighborhood, you're back as a white priv.
Right.
But in that neighborhood, and it feels bad.
Yeah.
Being the minority sucks. Like they can just go, "Hey, white boy," and you're like,
fuck.
Which is not even a negative thing. It's just I'm a boy who's white, but it still hurt.
Yeah.
Because I was different.
Because you were different.
Yeah. So I kind of I don't want to say I relate to a lot of shit, but. I get
it.
It's
relatable. You've had that experience where, because that's the end thing.
Right.
It's just I'm different. There's an easy way to make me feel different.
Yeah.
I'm not wet. Yeah. And then all the rest of it piles on.
Exactly. Like, there's more women on earth than men, but if one girl is at a party with 50 dudes, she's going to feel weird.
Yeah.
So the minority is it's fluid. We just talk about minorities and majority and all that, but it changes depending on your environment.
Yeah, it changes, man. And I think, I feel like there's a lot. I feel like when I was growing up, there was probably a good bit of, and racism kind of felt both ways. If you weren't a racist person, if you didn't really there were some people who probably hated black people.
Yeah,
sure. Were real adamant about it.
Oh,
and adapted to old kind of, I don't want to say redneck type of stuff, because there's redneck people that aren't that way at all.
That's true.
But there was a lot of people who didn't, and then if you interacted with black kids and they were mean, it gave you this. You're like, shit. Well, what do I do? I don't.
Right.
I don't want to have any ill will, but there's also these kids are mean to me.
Yes.
And they probably didn't have anything else to do. If you everywhere you go, it's like everybody has something but you.
Right. Exactly.
I can't imagine what that.
I was hanging out with these two guys, Marnette and Tony. They were like my two black friends, and we were at the Black Mall because I slept at their house, so we went to their mall and the whole thing. And we're playing at the arcade in the mall, and one of my friends was doing well at Street Fighter, and I was like, "Yeah, get him, Tony! Come on!" And these two bigger black guys behind me, like Puberty Wilson and Testosterone Jones, were like, "Get him, Tony! Get him!" Like doing the white voice, and it crushed me. I had to go in the bathroom and be like, "All right, take it easy. That hurt. Just go back out there."
Get back out there.
Yeah, my two friends were like, "Don't worry about those guys. They're idiots. They're mean." I was like, "Yeah, but because you're already the outsider, and then you're doing the white voice, and they called me on it. Yeah. Well, it was fucking humiliating. I turned beet red. It was brutal."
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard being
white, folks. It ain't easy.